"There's a camera in your office," whispered the maid's daughter, exposing the billionaire's fiancé. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's jump into today's story. A young girl, no older than 10, stands at the entrance of an elegant office, her wide eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and determination. She is just a maid's daughter, working quietly in the background, invisible to most, just another face among the hired help. Yet, today, something is different. She has overheard something she shouldn't have, something that could change everything. She watches as the billionaire and his fiancée laugh over expensive champagne, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. The office is a symbol of wealth, with its glossy marble floors and walls adorned with priceless art. The chandeliers hang low, their crystal fixtures reflecting the lights that seem to capture the attention of everyone but the girl. The billionaire, a man with a reputation for ruthless business practices, sits in his leather chair, his fingers steepled as he looks at his fiancée with a smirk. She, in return, smiles back, her perfect teeth flashing in the soft light. The two of them appear untouchable, their worlds so far removed from the one the young girl knows. For her, the office represents nothing more than a place of work, a place where she is meant to stay out of the way, where she is barely noticed. She's the one who cleans up after the meetings, picks up the crumbs, and ensures everything is pristine for the next round of deals. Her mother works tirelessly, cleaning up the remnants of the billionaire's world, while she is left to quietly observe, unseen and unheard. But today, she hears something. There is a conversation happening in the next room, one that shouldn't have been overheard. The fiancée, with her perfect poise and elegance, speaks in hushed tones, unaware that the girl is close enough to catch every word. She talks about a plan to manipulate the billionaire into making decisions that would secure her future. It's a betrayal, a manipulation masked by sweet smiles and charm. The maid's daughter is shocked. She knows, with certainty, that something is not right. She may be just a child, but she understands more than they give her credit for. The sound of their laughter echoes in her mind as she steps quietly towards the door, trying to make sense of what she has just heard. Her heart races. She can't ignore it. The truth needs to come out. In a moment of quiet bravery, she whispers softly, just loud enough for the billionaire to hear, "There's a camera in your office." The words hang in the air, their impact immediate. The billionaire's face freezes. His fiancée, who has been so certain of her plans, turns pale, her smile fading. The room goes silent. What happens next will unravel the carefully constructed world they've built, revealing truths that no one was prepared to face. The room falls silent. The billionaire's fingers freeze midair, hovering above the contract he had been preparing to sign. His fiancée's smile falters, her perfect posture betraying the flicker of panic in her eyes. The young maid's daughter, standing just inside the doorway, watches in stunned silence as her whispered words reverberate through the air. "There's a camera in your office." The tension in the room becomes almost palpable. The billionaire, who had once towered over everyone in the room, now looks uncertain, his confident facade cracking for the first time in years. His fiancée, who had been so poised and calculating just moments ago, suddenly appears vulnerable. The girl, standing there with her hands clenched by her sides, feels the weight of the moment. She can't help but wonder if she made a mistake, but the words have already been said. The truth is out. The billionaire slowly stands up from his chair, his gaze shifting from the girl to the fiancé. The fiancée's face goes pale, and for a brief moment, she stumbles over her words. What do you mean?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper, trying to mask the unease creeping into her tone. The billionaire doesn't answer her. Instead, he strides toward the office door and opens it, his eyes scanning the room for the hidden camera. The girl steps back, still trying to make sense of everything she just overheard. Her heart races, but she knows she did the right thing. This is bigger than her. As the billionaire and his fiancée continue their tense exchange, she quietly slips out of the room, not wanting to be seen. She doesn't know what will happen next, but she can't shake the feeling that things are about to change forever. She retreats to a quiet corner of the mansion, her mind swirling with thoughts of what she had just uncovered. The mansion is enormous, with long hallways lined with expensive art and towering columns. Despite its grandeur, she feels smaller than ever. The faint sound of voices echoes down the hallway, but she blocks it out, focusing on the sense of purpose that has suddenly filled her chest. She may only be a maid's daughter, but today, she has done something that no one expected. She has exposed a lie. She has exposed the truth. Minutes later, she hears the sound of hurried footsteps approaching. She turns to see the billionaire standing at the end of the hallway, his face pale but determined. "You were right," he says, his voice soft but firm. "The camera was there, and you've just saved me from a disaster." His eyes lock onto hers, and for the first time, she feels seen. The fiancé, meanwhile, is nowhere to be found. The billionaire's expression hardens. "I'm going to make sure this all gets sorted. You've done something I could never repay. Thank you." The girl, still processing everything, only nods in response. She doesn't want thanks, doesn't need them. What she did today was more than enough. As the billionaire walks away, she is left standing in the grand hallway, the weight of the situation settling in. She has just taken down a powerful man's biggest weakness, and she did it all without anyone ever believing in her. The billionaire stands there, still processing what the young girl has just revealed. His mind races with thoughts of betrayal and manipulation. He cannot believe that the fiancée, the woman he had trusted, had planned to deceive him in such a calculated way. He had always prided himself on being able to see through people, to read them like an open book, but today, he realizes how deeply he had been blinded by love and greed. The camera that had been hidden in his office, the secret conversations, and the web of lies, it all comes crashing down on him like a tidal wave. He takes a deep breath, steadying himself. He walks back into his office, the weight of the truth heavy on his shoulders. He feels a mix of anger and disappointment, not only with the fiancée, but with himself for allowing it to go unnoticed for so long. The girl's words echo in his mind. "There's a camera in your office." He stands by the desk, his gaze drifting to the chair where his fiancée had sat just moments ago, confident in her plans. Now, she is nowhere to be seen. The office feels emptier, colder, as if the walls themselves are closing in. The girl, the maid's daughter, had given him the clarity he needed to see what had been right in front of him all along. But he also knows that her words have done more than just expose a hidden camera. They have revealed a side of him he wasn't ready to face. How could he have been so blind? The billionaire picks up his phone and dials his lawyer's number. He needs to act quickly before things spiral out of control. "I need you to get to my office now," he says, his voice firm but shaken. He hangs up and sits down, running his fingers through his hair. His empire, his wealth, his reputation, everything feels fragile in this moment. He realizes how vulnerable he really is. Meanwhile, the young girl, still in her hiding place, hears the billionaire's footsteps echoing through the halls. She is unsure of what will happen next, but she knows that she has done something important. She has uncovered a dangerous secret, and in doing so, she has changed the course of events for this powerful man. She doesn't feel scared anymore, though. She feels empowered. She has proved that even the smallest voice can shake the foundations of something as solid as a billion-dollar empire. As she peeks around the corner, she watches the billionaire's lawyer arrive, his expression serious. The girl knows it's only a matter of time before the full extent of the truth is revealed. The billionaire's fiancée, wherever she is, cannot hide from what has already been set into motion. The girl doesn't need to know all the details. She doesn't need to know what will happen to the fiancé or how the billionaire will react. All she knows is that she has done what was right. She has spoken up, and now, everything will change. She turns and walks down the hallway, her footsteps light but purposeful. For the first time in her life, she feels like she belongs somewhere, not as an invisible servant, but as someone who has made a difference. The billionaire may have his empire, but she has her own quiet victory. The billionaire paces back and forth in his office, his mind racing with the repercussions of what he has just discovered. He can't believe how easily he was manipulated, how the fiancée, the woman he had been planning to marry, had played him for a fool. His empire, his reputation, everything he had worked for now felt like it was crumbling around him. He had always trusted his instincts, trusted his ability to read people. But in this case, he had been blind. Blind to the woman he had let into his life. Blind to the fact that she had been using him for her own gain. His hands grip the edge of the desk as the weight of the situation sinks in. The young girl, the maid's daughter, had exposed the truth, something he would have never seen if not for her. She was just a child, yet she had done what no one else could. She had given him the clarity he needed. He stands still for a moment, taking in the situation. He knows he has to act quickly, before everything spirals out of control. He dials the number of his trusted advisor, his voice firm as he speaks into the phone. "I need you to start an investigation. I want everything. Find out exactly what she's been planning." The advisor's response is swift, and the billionaire hangs up, his resolve growing stronger. He knows what he has to do now. As the minutes pass, his mind shifts to the girl, the maid's daughter. She had done something incredible today. She had not only exposed the deceit, but she had also made him see the truth about himself. He feels a sense of gratitude towards her, though he knows he has to keep his emotions in check. She is just a child, after all. Yet, something inside him tells him that she deserves more than just a thank you. She deserves recognition, something to show that her courage and honesty have not gone unnoticed. He walks out of his office, his steps echoing in the empty hallway as he searches for her. It doesn't take long before he finds her near the back of the mansion, her small figure almost lost among the grandeur of the place. She is sitting quietly, her hands folded in her lap as she looks out the window, her expression thoughtful. The billionaire approaches her slowly, unsure of how to begin. He stands in front of her, his presence imposing, but he makes no move to intimidate her. "You did the right thing," he says, his voice softer than usual. The girl looks up at him, her eyes meeting his, and for the first time, he sees a hint of warmth in them. She doesn't say anything at first, just nods in acknowledgement. The billionaire can see the weight of the moment on her face, the recognition of what she has just done. "I want you to know," he continues, "that I won't forget what you've done. You've changed everything. You've changed me." The girl remains quiet, but her gaze doesn't waver. There's a moment of silence between them, one that feels heavier than the words spoken. The billionaire takes a deep breath, realizing that he doesn't know what comes next, but he knows one thing for sure: nothing will ever be the same. He turns to walk away, but before he does, he looks back at her. "If you ever need anything at all, don't hesitate to ask." With that, he leaves, his footsteps fading as he walks down the hallway. The young girl watches him go, her thoughts racing. She doesn't know what the future holds, but she knows she has done something that matters. For once, she feels seen, not as just a maid's daughter, but as someone who made a difference. She doesn't expect anything in return, but she knows that what she did today will shape the rest of her life. Days pass, and the mansion feels different. The air is heavier, filled with unspoken tension. The billionaire has started the investigation, diving into the depths of his fiancée's deceit. The pieces of the puzzle are falling into place, and the more he uncovers, the more disgusted he becomes. The trust he once had in her has shattered beyond repair. She had manipulated him, played on his emotions, and used his own weaknesses to her advantage. But as the truth comes to light, there's something else on the billionaire's mind. His thoughts keep drifting back to the young girl, the maid's daughter, whose quiet bravery had exposed everything. He doesn't know why, but there's a pull, a sense that he needs to do something for her. She had saved him from making a catastrophic mistake, and now he wants to make sure she understands just how important that was. He begins to change his plans. He has always been a man of control, of order, but in this moment, he is willing to relinquish some of that for something greater. He wants to do right by the girl, to show her that she is more than just the invisible child she thinks she is. The billionaire arranges a meeting. It's not a business meeting, not a negotiation, it's something else entirely. He wants to speak to the girl, to let her know how much he appreciates her actions. The day of the meeting arrives, and he waits in his office, the door open, ready for her. He hears her footsteps before she enters. She's hesitant at first, unsure of what to expect. He stands up when she walks in, and for the first time, she doesn't feel small, invisible. She feels as though she belongs. "I wanted to thank you," the billionaire says, his voice calm and sincere. "You've done something no one else could have. You've shown me what really matters." The girl looks at him, her heart racing. She had never expected this, never imagined that her small act of bravery would lead to something so monumental. She just did what felt right. She had no idea it would change her life. The billionaire continues, I know I can never repay you for what you've done, but I want to offer you something. Anything you want. Whether it's a scholarship, a job, or anything else, it's yours. The girl's eyes widen, surprised by the offer. She had always worked hard, never expecting anything in return, but now, this powerful man is offering her the world. She shakes her head, her voice barely a whisper. I didn't do it for anything. I just wanted to help. The billionaire smiles, a rare, genuine smile. I know, and that's exactly why you deserve more than just thanks. You deserve the chance to live a life where you are seen and valued for who you are. The girl doesn't know what to say. She's never been in this position before. She's never been treated as if she mattered. But in this moment, she realizes that things are changing, not just for the billionaire, but for her as well. He offers her a seat across from him, and they talk for hours. It's not about money or power. It's about something much deeper, respect. The billionaire promises her that he will do everything in his power to help her achieve her dreams, whatever they may be. And for the first time, the girl feels a sense of hope, a sense of possibility. She realizes that the world she once felt so small in is no longer out of her reach. She has just taken the first step toward a future where she is seen for who she truly is, someone who can make a difference. The days following the meeting felt like a turning point for the young girl. She couldn't believe what had just happened. A simple act of speaking out, revealing a hidden camera, had set off a chain of events that would change her life forever. The billionaire's office had become a place of unexpected power for her. For the first time, she felt like someone saw her for more than just a maid's daughter. She felt like she mattered. The billionaire kept his promise. He arranged for her to attend a prestigious school, one that had always felt out of reach for someone like her. It wasn't just the scholarship that changed things. It was the support, the belief that she could be more than what society expected her to be. Every day, she worked harder, determined to prove that the billionaire's faith in her was not misplaced. She threw herself into her studies, excelling in subjects she had never been given the chance to explore. Meanwhile, the billionaire's life also began to shift. The fiancé was gone, replaced by a sense of clarity. The billionaire felt a weight lift off his shoulders as he continued to unravel the lies she had spun. He never spoke of the girl again, but he kept a close eye on her progress, silently proud of her achievements. His empire was no longer his only focus. He now found himself dedicating time and resources to helping others, especially those who had been overlooked or underestimated. He knew that it was his responsibility to ensure that the girl's life was one of opportunity, not limitation. As the months passed, the girl's reputation began to spread. Her exceptional abilities and determination caught the attention of influential figures in the city who admired her intelligence and resilience. She became a symbol of what could happen when someone was given a chance, when their voice was heard. But for her, it was never about the accolades or the recognition. She had done what felt right, and that was enough. She was living her dream now, attending a school where she could be herself, where her ideas were valued. The billionaire had given her a platform, but it was her own strength and courage that carried her forward. One afternoon, as she walked across the campus, she saw a familiar face in the crowd. It was the billionaire, standing at the entrance, watching her with a quiet smile. She walked toward him, a mix of surprise and gratitude in her heart. I knew you'd make it, he said softly. You've done more than anyone could have imagined. She smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. She had come so far from the girl who had once felt invisible, the girl who had hidden in the shadows of a mansion. Now, she stood tall, not just in the billionaire's eyes, but in her own. She was no longer just a maid's daughter. She was someone who had found her place in the world, someone who had carved out a future for herself. And as she looked at the billionaire, she realized that she owed him nothing. Her success was hers alone. The journey she had started, all those months ago, had brought her to this moment. And she knew that no matter where life took her, she would never forget the lesson she had learned. Sometimes, the smallest voice can bring down the greatest walls. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of change, not only for the young girl, but also for the billionaire who had once ruled his empire with an iron fist. Now, the mansion that had felt so cold and impersonal began to feel a little warmer. It was as if the walls themselves were breathing easier, no longer suffocating under the weight of deceit. The billionaire, despite his overwhelming success, found himself with more questions than answers. Was power truly the most important thing in life? Was wealth really enough to guarantee happiness? As he watched the girl continue to thrive, he realized that his once unquestionable belief in success had been flawed. The young girl had shown him a different path. She had become the embodiment of everything he had failed to see before: courage, authenticity, and the power of standing up for what was right. She had turned his world upside down, and in doing so, she had given him the one thing that money could never buy: peace of mind. He kept track of her progress, watching from a distance as she excelled in school and became a role model to others who had once been overlooked. She had a quiet confidence about her now, something that shone through in every decision she made. There was no longer any trace of fear in her eyes. She was no longer the invisible maid's daughter. She was a force in her own right, shaping her own destiny. Meanwhile, the billionaire continued to navigate the complexities of his own life. His business was still thriving, but he no longer felt the need to control every detail. He had learned to trust others, to delegate, and to let go of the illusion that he could do everything alone. There was something humbling in this new way of living, and he began to appreciate the value of human connection more than ever. As he stood in his office one evening, looking out over the city skyline, he thought back to the day the girl had walked into his life. He had been so blinded by his own world that he had failed to see the quiet power of those around him. Now he saw things differently. He had learned that true success wasn't just about wealth. It was about lifting others up, about giving them the opportunity to shine. And in that moment, he made a decision. He was going to help more people. He was going to use his resources to create opportunities for those who had been overlooked, just like the young girl who had changed his life. A few days later, he invited her to dinner. It wasn't a formal event. It was a simple meal in his private dining room, just the two of them. He had no agenda, no business to discuss. He simply wanted to talk to her, to show her how much he appreciated everything she had done. As they sat together, he realized how much he had come to admire her. She was no longer the shy girl who had once hidden in the shadows. She was a young woman with dreams, a young woman who had proven that even the smallest voice could change the world. "You've done something extraordinary," he said, his voice sincere, "and I will never forget it." The young girl smiled, the warmth in her eyes reflecting the person she had become. "Thank you for believing in me," she replied softly. They both knew that this was only the beginning. A new chapter was just starting, and it was one that neither of them could have predicted. But for the first time in a long while, both the billionaire and the young girl felt that anything was possible. Months passed, and the world that the young girl had known began to shift. The support she had received from the billionaire opened doors she had never imagined, but she wasn't going to stop there. Her success was no longer just about proving herself. It was about showing the world that anyone, regardless of where they came from, could achieve greatness. She excelled in her studies, earning top grades, and even took on leadership roles in several school clubs. People started to notice her, and soon, she was speaking at community events, encouraging others to reach for their dreams no matter their background. The billionaire, watching her progress, couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride. He had given her the chance to prove herself, but she had done the rest. She was thriving because of her own determination and hard work, not because of his money or influence. It was a quiet victory for both of them. One afternoon, the billionaire called her to his office. This time, it wasn't for a formal meeting or a business-related conversation. He simply wanted to talk. As she walked into the room, she could see the pride in his eyes. He had become a mentor to her in many ways, but now, it was clear that he had also become a friend. "I wanted to tell you something," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. "I've watched you grow over the past few months, and I can honestly say I've never been prouder of anyone. What you've accomplished is extraordinary." The girl, no longer that shy and uncertain child, smiled softly. "Thank you," she replied. "But it's not just about me. I've had a lot of help along the way." "Yes, you've had help," he agreed. "But it was your choice to take that help and turn it into something meaningful. And that's what makes you different." The billionaire paused, gathering his thoughts. "I've spent my life building an empire, but I've realized something. It's not about the wealth, the success, or the power. It's about what you do with it. and you've shown me what really matters." The girl's eyes softened. She had never expected to hear him speak like this. He had always been so focused on business, on numbers, on achievements. To hear him speak so personally was a side of him she had never seen. "You've changed me," he continued. "And for that, I will always be grateful. But I want you to know that you've given me something more than what I could ever give you." The girl didn't know what to say at first, but then she smiled again, feeling the warmth of his words. "I think we've both learned a lot from each other," she said. "And I'm just getting started." The billionaire nodded, his smile matching hers. "I know, and I can't wait to see what you do next." As she left his office that day, the girl felt a sense of purpose that she had never known before. She had come so far from that quiet, invisible girl who once cleaned the mansion's hallways. Now, she was a young woman with a future filled with endless possibilities. She wasn't defined by her past or by the circumstances she had been born into. She was defined by her choices, her actions, and her drive. And as she walked down the hall, she realized that she wasn't just breaking down barriers for herself. She was paving the way for others, showing them that anything was possible. The billionaire had given her the chance to dream, but she was the one who had made those dreams a reality. And now, she was ready for whatever came next. As the years passed, the young girl, now a confident young woman, continued to thrive. The billionaire kept his word. He supported her through every step, and she made the most of every opportunity. Her story became an inspiration to many, an example of what can happen when someone believes in you, when someone gives you the chance to prove yourself. She not only excelled academically, but she also became a leader in her community, mentoring other young people who had been overlooked just as she had been. It wasn't just about being successful for her anymore. It was about making a difference. The billionaire, though no longer involved in every detail of her life, watched from a distance. He had witnessed her transformation, and it filled him with pride. He knew that he had helped set her on this path, but it was her own drive and resilience that had led her to where she was now. He had given her the chance, but she had taken it and soared beyond what he could have imagined. One day, years after their first meeting, the girl, now a successful and confident young woman, was invited to speak at a prestigious event. It was an honor for her, but she knew this moment wasn't just for her. It was for all the people who had believed in her, even when she hadn't believed in herself. As she stood on the stage, speaking to a crowd of influential people, she reflected on her journey. She thought back to the mansion, to the billionaire's office, to the moment she had whispered the words that had set everything in motion. None of this would have happened without that one small act of courage. She spoke passionately about the importance of opportunity, of believing in people who have been overlooked, and of giving them the platform they deserve. The audience listened intently, moved by her words. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. It wasn't just her success they were celebrating. It was the impact she had made, the lives she had touched. The billionaire, sitting quietly in the back of the room, watched her with a proud smile. He knew that the world had not only changed for her, but for everyone she had inspired along the way. She had done it. She had broken free from the limitations imposed by her past, and now she was helping others do the same. As the event ended and the crowd began to disperse, the young woman walked over to the billionaire. He stood up, and they shared a moment of quiet understanding. "You've come so far," he said, his voice filled with genuine admiration. "And you've made a difference." She smiled, her eyes reflecting a sense of fulfillment that could not be measured by wealth or success. "I did it because I believed in myself," she replied. "And because you believed in me first." They both knew that this was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. The billionaire had given her a chance, but she had built her future with her own hands. And as they parted ways that evening, they both understood that success wasn't just about what you achieve. It was about how you lift others up, how you change the world around you, and how you help people believe that anything is possible. The journey was far from over, but the young woman had already proven that no dream was too big and no goal too impossible. She was ready for whatever came next, knowing that her story was just one of many waiting to be written. In this captivating story of triumph and perseverance, we delve into the world of millionaire stories, where a young maid's daughter finds herself in a situation that challenges everything she knows about power and success. When she reveals a hidden camera in a millionaire's office, her life takes a dramatic turn. This is not just another one of those millionaire stories. It's a story of bravery, transformation, and the importance of giving others a chance to shine. Through her courage, she unveils a dark secret, shifting the course of not only her future, but also the billionaire's life. As we follow her journey, from a life of invisibility to one of opportunity, we witness the true power of belief, both in herself and from the people who support her. This remarkable tale is a perfect example of how millionaire stories aren't always about wealth. They're about the impact one person can have on another's life. As the young woman breaks barriers and climbs to new heights, we are reminded that success is not solely defined by financial gain. Her journey highlights the importance of mentorship, opportunity, and the belief that anyone, no matter their background, can achieve greatness. From overcoming initial hardships to becoming an inspiration, this story truly stands as one of the most unforgettable millionaire stories you'll ever hear. The lessons learned and the lives touched by this powerful narrative show that millionaire stories, when told from the heart, are more than just tales of wealth. They are stories of resilience and hope, demonstrating how anyone can change the world by lifting others up.